I was taught that the heart is the primary pump for all the circulation, but there's other data to show that that's not quite true. I'm going to show you how to improve the blood flow through your legs and your ankles and your feet. But there's many different problems that occur when you have poor circulation. Edema and swelling, painful feet as well, cramps in the feet and the calves. I'm going to cover all of these and then relate them to a really simple solution. I'm also going to be covering several important exercises. This information is based on a book called Understanding the Heart by Stephen Hussey. In one part of the book, he talked about trees. How do trees pump this water from the roots all the way up to the leaves? They don't have hearts. What he has found through a lot of scientific research is that the heart spins the blood. And when you put water through a vortex, and even underneath the earth, you have moving water. Water always should move. It shouldn't be sitting there. Really, the theory of this is the heart is acting as a mechanism to create structured water, to allow it to kind of go through the body. Now, we do know the heart is very, very electrical. I mean, just think about what an EKG does, right? You're measuring the electrical part of the heart. Part of the solution that he did is he started increasing more structured water throughout his circulatory system. And so this leads us to increased structured water in your blood. The best way to do that is to get more exposure from infrared. Over 50% of the sun's energy is infrared. Infrared is just one little piece of the spectrum of light, which apparently has a lot of healing. I mean, a lot of people are using infrared for all sorts of things, but you can also make it to create more structured water in your circulation. More exposure to the sun is one important tip to improve the circulation in your legs and improve your heart function. You can get an infrared device. There's infrared saunas. You can even sit in front of a campfire or your fireplace. You're going to get a good amount of infrared from that. Infrared also is a wonderful thing for your arteries, especially to increase something called nitric oxide, which helps with blood pressure. And then you also have the vitamin D from the UV that automatically increases nitric oxide. Let's say you have swelling in your feet. Potassium is one of the best natural diuretics to get rid of excess fluid. You have to take maybe 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams per day. The combination of getting rid of all the sugar and the starch, that's the bread, pasta, cereal, crackers, biscuits, waffles, pancakes, etc., getting rid of those will get rid of a lot of fluid in your lower extremities. And the other thing about that is that when you consume a lot of sugar, you will deplete vitamin B1. Sometimes the pain in your toes or the bottom of your feet is related to that. And so you need to take something called benfotiamine to restore it, in addition to your limiting your carbohydrates. Let's say, for example, you have cramps. Sometimes people think that the cramps really are poor circulation. They're not. Cramping in your calves or your feet is merely a magnesium deficiency. The thing about magnesium is that it's really hard to test for it because you only have 1% of your body magnesium in your blood. 99% is in the cells. And it's a really important mineral involved with blood pressure, making energy, and especially muscle, because it works with calcium. It controls calcium. In fact, one of the medications for blood pressure is called a calcium channel blocker. Well, guess what magnesium is? It's a natural calcium channel blocker. Why don't they just use magnesium? Because you can't patent it. Magnesium is really important for blood pressure, but it's also essential to get rid of cramps. But sometimes you have to take enough over a long period of time. I recommend taking about 800 milligrams per day in the evening for some weeks until you get rid of your cramps, and then you can reduce it down to 400 milligrams per day. You want to take magnesium glycinate because that's the one that is the best absorbed and it doesn't cause diarrhea. Another mistake, compression stockings. If you already have problems with your arteries being constricted and you use these compression stockings, you're basically constricting blood flow. Not the best thing to do. Now let's talk about varicose veins. There's a really good remedy for that, diosmin, and it can help with varicose veins. Another little mistake that I think people make when they have circulation problems is they start doing high intensity type exercise. If you have a problem with the lower part of your body, whether it's edema, varicose veins, you want to go light on the exercise. You do not want to do any high intense anything, okay? You don't really want to do sprints just because there's a chance it could get worse. Walking would be the best thing. Let's go into the exercises. In this first exercise, we're going to combine elevating our legs with an ankle pump. So you will be lying on your back with your feet up on your wall while you move 1 foot at a time, back and forth, and you're pumping the fluid from your lower extremity back to the heart. The combination of elevation and the pumping motion is great to push fluid from the lower extremity back up to where it needs to go. That's one exercise. The next one I'm going to show you is an ankle pump while you're sitting. Now, let's say you're sitting in your chair through the day. You can literally just do this ankle pumping underneath your desk. With this next exercise is really, really good because it involves activating more of the muscles in your calf and in your shin at the same time. And this is called heel to toe rocking. In this first one, you're going to be holding something, whether it's a wall or something to stabilize yourself so you don't fall down. And you're basically going to go through this motion where you're rocking back and you're going to go up on your toes, back and forth. You're going to do this about 10 times, okay? And you can do that a few times through the day. But this is one of the best exercises if you want to push fluid from the lower part of the body up to the heart. And then after you get good enough, you can do this without any support and basically stand there and do this rocking motion to allow your body to adapt so you're not having to depend on holding something. And I would recommend just doing it 10 times, okay? And then do that several times during the day. Recovered circulation, edema, swelling, pain. But what about cold feet? What can you do for cold feet? That is normally an iodine deficiency because the thyroid is low. Sea kelp is one of the best sources of iodine. You can take that. That'll help strengthen your thyroid so you can actually have warmer feet. So I gave you a lot of things to do today. Go ahead and apply some of them. And then please come back and comment down below on how it worked for you. Hey, before you leave, I just wanted to give you a little quick history on some of the books that I wrote. This was one of the first books. It's called Dr. Berg Body Shapes. It was my attempt at writing about body types. What was very interesting about this book is I actually did all the images myself. Don't ask me why. They look actually not quite as professional as some of the images that I have in the new book. But anyway, this is my first attempt right here called Dr. Berg's Body Shape Diets. And then I wrote a book more extensive called The 7 Principles of Fat Burning. I don't even have a copy anymore, actually, because it's outdated. The next book, I put about 1,000 hours into this one right here called The New Body Type Guide. Major updates on the body types. I put a lot of energy into this. It has professional images, graphics, all sorts of things. Now, the problem with this book is it doesn't really describe what this is really about. Body types are only a small portion of what's in this book. And that's why I changed the name to the Healthy Keto Plan, okay? If you happen to have this book, you don't really need this book because there's some only very, very minor updates. But if you don't have this, you need to get this one right here. This book goes into every single detail that you would ever want to know about. It goes into the 7 principles of fat burning. It goes into hormones, the body types, the basic keto plan. It goes into intermittent fasting. I talk about the 10 fat burning triggers and blockers and fat burning strategies with a lot of details in every single chapter. I go into body issues that interfere with losing weight. There's very few people that just have a weight problem. They have a lot of body issues, whether it's sleeping problems, stress problems, inflammation, menopause. I cover that extensively in this book. Then I talk about how to get rid of stress, and I show you a technique. Then I get into exercising. And then I have a lot of really good recipes in this book as well. So this is a good reference guide. On my website, if you get this book, you get this one free. It's called Healthy Keto Intermittent Fasting. This is the shortcut, quick guide to this book. And the reason I created this book is to have you, within 45 minutes, learn how to do keto, okay, in intermittent fasting, exactly what you need to do. Then you can fill in the blanks with this book right here. So right now I'm doing a special. If you get this book, you get this one totally free, or you can go to Amazon and get these individually. So I just want to clarify the difference between this book and this updated one right here. If you don't have this, you need to get this right here. That way you can get the exact correct information to do it healthily.